What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the latest episode of Real Estate Uncensored. This is the place where you get actionable ideas, insight, and inspiration to turn your real estate career into a life of freedom. And we are talking about focus today, one of my favorite topics, how to slow down to speed up, which is something I heard literally all weekend long at motorcycle class. So it's interesting. This is the topic coming off of that because it basically everything was smooth. What was that? Slow is smooth and smooth is fast. So it's an old military saying, which is applicable. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about how to narrow your focus based on your values and what you really care about. And if you've ever had this experience, I know I have a lot. It's been probably one of the main bane of my existence is we set a lot of goals, and then we find out that the goals end up conflicting. Like the goals for our personal life and the goals for our career don't play nicely together. And that's one of the major things we'll be hitting on today is how do you make sure that you're progressing towards both and setting goals that actually work together. So we got a special guest. Kelly McCarthy is here. I've got the Junior Grandmaster is in the co-pilot seat where you so belong. You are in your box, safely contained where you cannot personally harm me. You can only annoy and irritate. Greg McDaniel, how is it today?
I can only dream if I can annoy and irritate you in one show. That is my life goal here. Kelly's been coaching me on that for months. And we have a surprise attack today, so be wary.
Great.
But I know realistically, dude, I was over at Jack's house this weekend, and one of my to-do lists was to attack this tree. Dude, it looks like I got in a bar fight. Like my knuckles are cut up. I'm missing skin. I'm like, I don't know if I kicked the tree's ass or the tree kicked my ass.
Did you cut down a tree?
No, thinned it out.
Okay.
Super. It's like, I think I had more spiders land on me than I did leaves. It was like a spider tree. It was horrible.
Ooh.
Jack says she's upstairs 2 floors up. She's like, you're going to get spiders on you. I'm like, I don't care. I come back. I'm like, ooh, spiders all over the place. This is not fun.
Yeah, that sounds terrible. I'd have a hazmat suit on.
All right. Well, we got Kelly here. Kelly's a dear friend of mine. She's been coming to my Rockstar Connect events for a year and a half, 2 years, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
Friendship. And so, Kelly, welcome to the show. I'm super excited to have you join us today.
Thank you. And thank you for having me. Excited to be here.
It's my pleasure. And we're going to talk about goals. One of Matt's favorite things, goals.
Yes, in fact, we did. There's an episode you can find on iTunes. This is probably about 2 years old, where it was basically an episode where Greg yelled at each other, Greg and I, over our different views on goals. It was I don't know if we call it like a goal smackdown or something, but it was basically like an East Coast, West Coast battle of goal setting. It is one of my favorite topics. I do enjoy giving Greg a hard time about his views on goal setting.
That's because I'm always right.
I'm excited to dive in. So just give us some background, catch us up on the types of clients that you really enjoy working with before we dive into kind of the bulk of what we want to talk about.
Yeah, absolutely. So I work with Bay Area overachievers, Bay Area leaders, in order to narrow the focus on the goals that are really important to them so that they can be successful in all areas of their lives, not just on career.
Gotcha. And so you work with, so help me understand some of the industries that you really enjoy serving and just a little bit about your background and how you ended up getting into coaching.
Yeah. So I actually do have a lot of lawyers, but I do find that the traits of the lawyers that I work with are very congruent with a lot of other industries that are goal driven. And so the lawyers are more like time efficiency and, so like real estate agents or salespeople would be in, kind of a goal driven, like monetary type of way. So always having to, do more and be more and stretch yourself so thin, it's easy to lose yourself in the process. So I really kind of help people gather themselves back together again. Let's get your values in line. Let's, figure out where you want to go and what's right for you. And the school of thought is really like doing and being simultaneously. So you don't get caught up in one too much.
I think a lot of the times people don't really make personal goals. A lot of people, they get told to make their business goals. How many deals? What's your GCI?
That's right.
What are you going to pull down? So on and so forth. My coach, Bill, who we've had on the show before, I hired him right at literally that day after the recording of that show. And he has helped me. For all you guys listening on iTunes, I'm holding up my goals that I have in front of me. And the funny thing is, Kelly, is that when I went through there and I had him tweak it and I took all the monetary stuff off and I completely went back to like an emotional state for my goal setting, all of a sudden my goals started coming to me because I didn't put any restrictions on them.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. And in that vein too, is a lot of people want to say, what's the direction you want to go? They can snap off answers. They can fire them off really easily because it's coming from their head. And they'll say, okay, now how would your heart answer that goal question differently.
Mm-hmm.
And it settles in almost instantly and goes right into the core of who you are and what's important to you. And it's usually a whole different answer.
It is a whole different answer. And actually the way you feel, the way I answer my questions here, and I review this thing probably 10 times a day. I review my goals.
Yeah.
And it makes me feel good. It keeps me grounded in a direction. When you get people that are talking about goals and everything else, do you have any common denominators that you see over and over and over again? Is it more money? Is it more free time? Is it more faith? Is it more family? I mean, where do you see the majority of people's goals centering around?
Yeah, actually, ironically, my first impression as becoming a coach was to push people toward their goals, where actually people are natural doers. I mean, pushing someone to do something is not difficult to do. Usually it's pulling back, the slowing down to speed up, getting in touch with what's really important, slowing down so that your focus is more, you're more focused based on where you want to go, and that informs what step to take next.
You know, when I was working with my coach, I told him I wanted to do something, it was totally contrary to what I felt I should be doing. And it was basically, I'm like, dude, I'm just exhausted. He's like, take the day off. I'm like, I can't. He's like, take the day off. He was like, what would you do? I'm like, I'd go binge watch the show I'm on right now. I'm super into it. He's like, go sit on the couch.
That's right.
Stop working and relax. You know what happened that day? I took his advice. I went, sat on my couch. I'm like, oh, I'm going to play hooky. I didn't play hooky. The phone wouldn't stop ringing. Emails kept flying. I was more productive sitting there on the couch than I was stressing out over here in the office.
Yeah. And how did you feel differently?
Felt fantastic. I felt accomplished. I felt, like I had really and I did put a hard, long day of work in, but it wasn't stressful because I'd slowed down and I was way more productive.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
So for real estate agents, we're all neurotic weirdos. So how would you, if you were going to sit down and talk to Matt, he's a brand new agent. All right. What would be the first thing you would want to talk to them about? Because I want people to start taking notes and want them to start taking an inventory of their life. Because if they want to be more productive this year with the lower inventory, with the higher property, and with the higher prices, how can they become more productive? What would you tell Matt Johnson from eXp Realty?
I would tell Matt to, if there's an opportunity to do coaching, I would have someone identify your values, help you uncover them, because it's really tough to do on your own. I mean, a lot of people can say, okay, well, friendship, family, those are easy to rattle off, and most people have those. What's deep down in your core? What's going to drive you forward? That if you do this thing every day, you're guaranteed to have a good day, because you know that you lived into those things because you took the time to slow down and identify them. I would say that's a really powerful first step. So
Matt, what would that be?
Well, we've talked a little bit about it. Lifestyle and legacy, which is actually the title of my dream, the goal sheet that I review every morning. There was something interesting. So I walked through this process with a good friend of mine, the guy I used to work for. And this is about 2 years ago. He had just got back from a Tony Robbins event where they did a really interesting exercise where he basically took a deck of cards that had a bunch of different values laid on it. And you pick out the ones that resonate at all in any way. And then you start pitting them one against the other. And so you have to choose. And so he kind of walked me just verbally through that process. And I came out with a pretty good set of values. And that was probably the most helpful way I've ever had that presented to me. Let's put it that way. Like if you're going to run, you're right. It's difficult to identify that by yourself. And even just verbally talking it out with somebody is a challenge unless they're really skilled at getting you to pick and choose. Okay, now you've got these 2 or 3 competing values. Now let's figure out if you had to live without one, or if you can, if there's one that's more important than the other, let's start to narrow this down a little bit. And then you start to figure out it's not just about what values you have, it's which are more important. So he challenged me to say, okay, if freedom is more important than relationship or something like that, then how do you think that affects the way that you are in relationships? I'm like, well, if I switch this around, this is the way it would affect my life. If I put this same value just different on the ladder, it would affect me in these ways. And so then you start to realize, oh, I have these values, but here's where I actually rank them in order of importance. I think that's where we get off in goal setting. And I think that's what causes those conflicts between like things like personal and career goals, is that we may identify, either we don't think about the values at all, or we identify some of them, but then we just kind of give them equal rank. And we're not realizing that in like unconsciously, there is an order of importance to them. And that plays out in what we actually do. We can talk about goals all we want, but our internal ladder of values is actually what determines our behavior.
Absolutely. Well, and I think ranking those things too, it could even be, there's some people, it's funny because there's some people who will say, okay, we'll have a value of family. I know someone that says, I have a value of a really, really hot cup of coffee. And that sounds kind of, it sounds very, low level, right? But she knows that if she wakes up every day and she microwaves her coffee after it comes out of the coffee pot to make it as hot as she wants it, she's starting her day off in the best way she knows possible. That's how she knows she loves to start her day. And so it can be behavioral even in knowing that, I want to take the time this morning to sip my coffee slowly, to enjoy it the way that I know I like it.
Scalding hot. We hope she
better be slow.
But, so it's funny. I mean, it's not necessarily just, then there's the whole conflict between what's a value and what's morals, where's the line? So when you're talking about things that are behavioral, then those are more, she has a value of time in the morning and just taking it slow and not waking up and hurrying up to get ready and leave for the day. She's setting herself up for success.
So when people don't understand this concept, and once they do, is it an instant kind of punch in the face that they realize, oh my gosh, this is what's really important to me? And then do people stick with these findings, or do they revert back to their default settings?
Yeah, and I love that question. And actually, that is why coaches are coaches. That's essentially why we have jobs, right? So learning those values and living into them every single day actually creates a new neuro connection in your brain. So neuroplasticity is something I'm really interested in. And when you have those aha moments in your life, when you learn something new about yourself or you realize something such as what your values are, it's like building a muscle. So it's a new connection that needs to be strengthened. And with working with a coach helps you to create a new habit. So the coach will hold you accountable to living into that value more often, on a daily basis. So therefore it just becomes who you are instead of being an effort to do that kind of a thing and revert into your old ways, which is very easy to do.
Yeah, it's very, very easy to do. So let's bring it down to the level of scenario. So what do we do when we have a conflict in our personal goals versus our career goals? So we have a career goal, and let's, just to bring it into something that's really practical. We have a goal for a certain income level that we know, and we traced it back because real estate's very predictable. So we traced it back to, we know in general what needs to be done that day. But there's some conflict to where some other personal goal, and let's take a very common one for people who are in real estate, which is family, right? Kids need to be picked up from school. School schedules change constantly as if they think we have 70 hours of unregulated free time, nothing to do but pick up kids and shuttle them back and forth to various places. I don't know what that's all about. I don't have kids, but that's my observation from the outside, is that schools believe that we exist to do nothing but shuttle kids back and forth at various times. So when we encounter things like that, and it's either choosing between one value or another, how do we make those choices in a way that we can feel good about and either go back and reevaluate and adjust the goals, or accept that this is maybe a one-time aberration or something, we just need to be easy on ourselves, versus when do we need to toughen up on ourselves? How do we tell the difference between that when goals start to conflict with one another?
Yeah. So I would say that there is, on the list of things like that, right? The kids being picked up, there's no choice there. That has to be done. So something that I've done with some of my clients are they'll put pressure on themselves to have this to-do list that's 15 items long, and one of them might be, oh, I got to get the car washed. Okay. What on that list can be taken off for today and be put on tomorrow? And where can you schedule yourself in that 30 minutes it would have taken you to wash the car, to prioritize yourself, taking care of yourself in order, again, slowing down to speed up, getting in touch with yourself. I think, business goals, same thing. You have to have, obviously you have to be growing and pushing the envelope to be able to achieve, and you have to exist simultaneously in both roles. I would say the same thing is, where can you design time for yourself to get clear on what's going on, to get in touch with yourself, to the more you can take time to feel what's going on with you in both realms, it doesn't matter if it's personal or career, the more driven you are and the more clarity and focus you have in each area. So you can start to take some things off if there's any option of unloading your plate a bit. A lot of people's busyness is self-inflicted.
Yeah, agreed.
And so, where can you, inflict or, bring it into yourself and get in touch with what's going on and hold the focus a little bit better.
Well, there's a difference between busy work and productive work.
Right.
And I think a lot of us, I'm guilty of it. Like a year ago or two, I was very, very busy. I wasn't getting shit done. Because it's the whole thing. Like, yeah, man, I hustle and grind. I got my side hustle. I do, 12 hours, 14 hours a day. I don't stop. Call me 24/7, 365, dog. When in reality, that's the definition of a slave. Right.
Yeah. Well, and it's also an image that you were holding on to. That, if you're walking around telling people how busy you are and you're doing all these things, then you must be important. You must really be out there hustling, So it's really realizing that there's an image attached to that, being 100%. Okay of letting that go and being more authentic.
But there's the question: who are you if you're not the busy person? Like you were saying, the identity attached to that. And when I went and sat on the couch, my identity, I'm like, well, who am I if I'm not the door knocker or the caller guy or the guy who was doing video? Who am I? Who's Greg McDaniel? And I said, today I'm one lazy ass mother blanker. That's what I am.
Right.
And I was cool with that.
And you own it. Absolutely.
The identity shifted, and I've learned to, Matt, remember when we had Bill on and he told me that he told you that I was going to start shifting and changing. Okay. It's true. I have gotten significantly quieter.
Yes. I see a huge difference in you. I don't see you that often, and I can tell a difference just in your demeanor, in your presence. You're much more calm, and you're much more in tune with yourself, and kind of have ownership.
Yeah, I own everything in my life, good, bad, and ugly.
Yep.
And you know what? It came from letting go of who I am, right? Dude, Facebook could shut down tomorrow, and all the work that people put into it, gone. You know what? They could change their, everything, and everything we've done is no longer, applicable. Technology could crash, and whatever. Yeah. But I became okay with whatever that next step is, that next iteration in life.
Yeah, absolutely.
I started holding out my life on the palm of my hand instead of closing it in my fist, trying to grasp onto everything and make it go my way. As soon as I just said, okay, you're here for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. What's it going to be, and what can I learn, and how can I adapt? And then I'm okay with whatever goes on next. So,
what's your impact?
My radio show might not go after 1 year. I freaked out about it. I'm like, well, then who am I if I'm not the guy that's on the radio show?
Yep.
You're the guy that's not on the radio show. That means there's something better for you waiting. But people are so controlling of what they have now. They sometimes can't let that new thing come into their existence and their reality because they're holding on to something right now.
Right.
It's so weird.
Well, there's a concept that I use in coaching quite a bit, and that's the saboteurs, right? I mean, these are the things that keep you in your comfort zone. They tell you, oh, don't push that boundary. It's gonna be all this whole uncharted territory, and you don't know what you're doing. And the number one question that stops people in their tracks is how. You might have a great big idea, but you almost instantly go to how, and guess what? It shuts down your energy almost instantly because you don't know how. And so recognizing those saboteur voices, we give them a persona and a character in coaching, and it diminishes them in size, so their voices are not nearly as strong. they don't stop you from doing things as much as they used to once you've identified them.
No, not at all. Actually, I was watching a thing on Will Smith. He was doing this bucket list thing.
Oh yeah.
He went and he was going to go swim with sharks, right? And so he got the boat out into the water and had all the protective people around him. But there was probably 25 to 30 like 6 to 7 foot sharks at the top of the water.
Yep.
But those aren't the sharks he was going to go jump in with. He had to swim through those sharks and go down to like the 20, 25 foot sharks down below, like the big ones, like the tigers, right? And he was freaking out when he jumped in the water. I mean, oh, fuck, man, I'd be freaking out too. I'm sorry. My heart would be going a trillion miles an hour. I'd pee in that wetsuit so fast. Oh my gosh. But he gets through the sharks. He gets down to the bottom. He sees like a 20-foot tiger shark coming at him. Then he realizes they're just docile. You just go push them away, right?
Wow.
So they came back up, swim through all the sharks again, right? And the same water that he was looking at before he jumped in with the sharks was terrifying. It was dark. It was, it was the worst thing to do, jump into that water, right? After he got out of the water, it was beautiful. It was magical. It was incredible because he faced his fears and changed who he was and the way he viewed it, right?
That's
the
right.
saboteur was no longer in his mind.
Right.
He was the master of it.
That's right. Yep.
I think the sharks are, I think something we make up in our minds, like going on a door knocking. Oh my God, people are going to be mean to me. If I do cold calls, people are going to hang up on me. If I go call my past client. I mean, shit, Kelly, when I invited you out for lunch, I stared at your business card for probably 30 minutes, petrified to pick up the call and call you. And I'm like, Greg, stop being a bitch and pick up the phone. And so I picked it up, like, I was really nervous. And I'm like, hey, and what was your response?
I'm like, yeah, I'd love to meet up with you for lunch. I mean,
Yeah. Your response was, hey, Greg. I'm like, hi, Kelly.
Great to hear from you. That's exactly the thing, is we make up these voices. And this is actually a very common theme, is that what we do is we project other people we think how they're going to react is going to be how they're actually going to react, when in reality, it's just a story we've made up for ourselves.
Yeah, that's true.
And we hold that true for them. Whereas, here's a totally vulnerable moment for me. I remember thinking, I could never coach executives, or I could never coach, people who I perceive to be these, Silicon Valley bigwigs. And guess what? I've got a handful of clients like that, and they're just people. But it took some, these were people that were references from other lawyers I've worked with that I, began to build a reputation, and they're just people, and they have the same issues that everybody else does.
Yep.
So it's the same story. If you can get over the stories that your own mind makes up, then your boundaries are limitless.
It's funny, Kelly. There's so many real estate agents out there that are petrified of working in the air quotes luxury market. And I had a legitimate conversation with people all the time. They say, well, you have to do it differently. I'm like, no, you don't. You just have to make a human connection with people. I mean, I just took one of my newer listings for about $2.2 million. He's a past client of mine. I hadn't talked to him in 14 years. I went over and took the listing in jeans and a backwards baseball hat. Yep. Right? Yeah. He was in shorts. Yeah. All we did is make a connection. He apologized to me for not following up. I'm like, huh? Okay, sure.
It's just all about human to human connection. It's just, we're just talking, it's not a big scary thing. And it's those made up stories that stop us from taking those big leaps.
How do you identify the story? How do you identify that so you can crush it?
A lot of times if I'm finding myself intimidated, people can, again, take it to your body. Where do you feel nervous? If it's in your chest or your heart, chances are it feels like, oh, this might be something I'm making up to be true. It really isn't true. This is my voice, not theirs. And actually, it's not really fair. It's not fair for you to do that to other people and judge what you think their reactions are going to be based on your own stories and your own fear. So if you're able to identify that in yourself, that you're nervous about something, okay, well, I'm nervous. What am I nervous about? What's going on with me that makes me nervous about the situation? And then as soon as you reach out, as you did, it's like, hey, what's up? Good to see you. Hey, thanks for getting in touch. And it wasn't as scary as you thought. So
no, you were very nice to me. You actually encouraged me to keep calling. So thank you for being nice to me. The same client that I listed their house for 2.2 over Christmas, we always drop off little boxes of C's candy, right, to our clients. I was such a pussy about it. I didn't even ring their front door. I just dropped on the front door and ran. Because I had told myself a story in my head that, oh, they're not going to want to talk to me because I haven't talked to them or called them. I made this whole storyline up. Yeah. 100% inaccurate.
Yep. Your physical body will tell you a lot. Your physical body will tell, like if you're feeling nervous, that is an indicator of something that's going on with you. Because those are your feelings. They're not somebody else's. So that's the first, I would say that's the first checkpoint.
So when people are going into a listing appointment or working with their buyer, or they have to have a conversation with someone that might not be the most comfortable conversation, and they're running these narratives right now, their number one thing is to identify, say, look, this is not my feelings. This is just a made up narrative. And would you say, look, go in with, I had a guest on the show and he said, go in with nosebleed honesty and just lay the facts out there versus telling yourself a story, just saying, look, this is what I'm feeling. This is what I'm doing. This is what's going on. Or with pure factually based conversations, or you take a different direction on that?
I would say that would be a really powerful way to open things up with a client, because you're leaving yourself vulnerable and you're telling them, hey, this is an area for me that I'm struggling with, and allowing them to be vulnerable as well. And that is part of one of the first things I do as a coach is designing an alliance with my client. And that is setting expectations, leveling the playing field. What do you want from me? What do you need from me? Here's what I need from you as being my client, and then is there any, what can you tell me about yourself, or what do you need to know that will make this transaction go smoothly for both of us? Because your win is my win and vice versa. So I want us to both come out with a good relationship intact, open communication. Perhaps that might actually be another good thing to do too, is designing how you want to communicate when there's conflict. What do you, this is how I would appreciate if there's a problem before, you get emotional or angry about it. I would love it if you could just present me the problem and let's talk about it, very calmly and openly, and see if we can't get it figured out.
I love that. The alliance, this is how I'm running my business. What do you need from me and what I can give to you? I mean, Matt, when's the last time that, I don't think I've ever had a consult like that, but I want to.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's powerful to design what it looks like when there is conflict, because obviously home buying is a very passionate area. It's something, on both sides, of course, because you want the sale and they want to move into a new home or investment or whatever it might be, that, if you design things up front, and it's actually a living, breathing thing. So if it's never like you just say it once and it's done, like, hey, remember that alliance we talked about? This is something else I've learned that I could really use. Is there anything else that you've learned that you could use now that we've gone into the process a little bit farther and our relationship has unfolded a bit?
Very interesting. Very interesting. I love this conversation because everybody has got issues. We do. It's very, very, Matt more than most, but, Bill's helped him quite a bit. That's like, what? Now you have a drug problem.
Oh, I do. Wow, fantastic. I have a fake wife, 3 fat fake kids, and now a drug problem. Hey, at least I already got their diabetic needles hanging around. So whatever drugs I'm ingesting, I've got the easy delivery system at hand. Right. So we call it cost savings. Oh, man. All right. So let's finish with this, Kelly. What's the best way for people to reach out? You mentioned you work with a lot of lawyers, but also high-powered professionals, CEOs, executives, whatever. So it's not necessarily any specific industry, but tell me a little bit about how would somebody know if they would, obviously besides resonating with you from hearing what you're talking about and agreeing with your approach to things, how else can they know that they're the right person? And if they do feel like they're the right person for you, how do they reach out?
Really, I would say the best way that I can describe this is overachievers and people that are driven, and I love it. I absolutely love working with people who are driven, who are goal oriented. It's just easy to lose yourself and your goals in the process. So they get buried underneath so much because you wake up and you've got a new idea and now you want to go with that, but then you've got 5 others that you left behind. So So I've actually identified a syndrome that I'm working on my website. It's called Silicon Valley Syndrome. And it's really just this is a tough place to live. It's expensive. You have to work to keep your head above water, but you got to keep everything in balance, and it can be really tough. So the people that I want to work with are people that are definitely goal driven, but want to just get more in touch with themselves, who they are at their core, that will inform their decisions moving forward.
Okay.
Getting in touch with me, my phone number, my business line is 925-230-8051. And my website is the SiliconValleyCoach.com.
Oh, nice. Easy enough.
Very simple.
And Gregory, how might someone want to get connect with you, and why would they want to connect with you?
Because I'm a lovable human being, Johnson. That's why they're going to get a hold of me.
And apparently the king of Zen calmness lately.
Yes, I am. I really am. I'm the Zen real estate master. Oh, namaste. So get a hold of me, guys. Go to bookmcdaniel.com. Again, it's book mcdaniel.com. Let's talk about EXP. Let's talk about the tribe that Matt and I are building, and just kind of how you will benefit, your family will benefit, your business will benefit by joining EXP with us, and all the value adds you'll get there, and kind of show you how you can make passive income, you can make active income, you can build a 401k, and so on and so forth. So go to bookmcdaniel.com. I look forward to sitting down with you. It's only 30 minutes. It's not a lot to take, just to see if you can make some more money. So, Matt, how can they review the show if they love it, which they should? If they don't,
best way is Apple Podcast app on your iPhone. You can also go to iTunes on the desktop. Either way, leave a 5-star review. If there was a particular guest like Kelly, if you enjoyed her episode, make sure to give her a shout out in the review to thank her for her time and contribution. So awesome. Well, this has been a fantastic conversation. Greg, any particular, I'm going to make you choose the color of the bow.
Damn it.
Around this episode. You knew it was coming.
I know.
I know. I'm tired of it. There's only so many Crayolas in the box. I feel like I'm running out of amusing/hilarious names for colors.
So you think I'm going to do better?
No, but I fully intend to blame you when you can't.
Okay. Well, I have a highlighter in front of me, so we're going to do a highlighter orange. Highlighter orange.
Okay. All
Don't
right.
know why. It's just the brightest color here that was around me. But we love you guys. We love this show. And we love watching you guys watch it and get a ton out of it. So if you like it, share it with everybody like a virus. Make sure everybody gets infected with the REU virus. And we will come back on our next episode to bring more value to you. Kelly, you are a legend. And guys, I can attest personally by sitting with her. She is extremely good at her job. So get a hold of her if you guys can. But if you can't, peace out, ninjas. We're gone.